want to jump into the show, but look, let's kind of like build some caveats right now, okay? Because this is kind of like a double show, and I haven't really ever done one before. Where I really had like multiple topics, and so the public lockdown and the economics of slavery don't necessarily correlate with each other. Besides the fact that the public lockdown is an overt attempt to reinforce the economic slavery, as I see it. And that's just me. That's just my opinion. And I, very well could be wrong. And I hope I am. But I don't think I am. I really don't. What I see is, as this system begins to really, really crack and break down, it's going to begin to cannibalize itself. And it's going to begin to cannibalize its citizens. And in order to cannibalize one's citizens, they need to stand or sit still or lay still. You can't, eat your prey if it's, running. It's pretty hard to do such a thing. So the public lockdown and the economics of slavery kind of are related, but overall maybe they're not. But I feel like they're related. So that's why I wanted to throw them in here. And I'm not trying to scare anybody. I'm just trying to, speak on, the way I see certain things. Now, what do I mean by the public lockdown? The public is locking down in the way that, how I see it, ways in which one can become free are being obfuscated. Is probably the best word that can come to mind. They can't generally completely close off ways for people to get free, but they can close off certain ways and make other ways very, very small and hard to navigate. And that's what I see happen. Big thing, when they, on May 13th, the IRS no longer allowed you to use an EIN to obtain an EIN. In other words, you used to be able to, if you had a company or you knew someone who had a company and they had an employer identification number for that company, you used to be able to use that employer identification number to get another employer identification number, even if it's an LLC or a corporation or a trust. It didn't matter. Now, you can't do that. Now, you have to submit a Social Security number. That's a perfect example of how the public is locking down. And when I mean the public, I'm obviously talking about the United States and all of its insular possessions and ancillary, tentacles. Any place that you walk by or drive by and they're flying a United States flag, that is the United States, or is claiming the United States, a fort or insular possession of the United States. Hands down. Hands down. So, the obtaining of an EIN, they want to make it more difficult. They want to be able to track who is in control, who is the responsible party. We don't want another entity. We don't want another corporation. Y'all are pretty much figuring out how to be private. They're figuring it out. Is really what's going on. And I feel like it's partially due to panic, but also just due to, hey, man, this is how it is. I feel like they're waking up, and right now you see, the bond market, the stock market, blah, blah, blah. But they're raising the prices of gold. They already inflated the prices of property. They're raising the prices of silver. And if you look at the price of silver, maybe you don't know. I was going to say we all know. That's not the price of silver. If you look at, the price of silver on, like for the stock market or whatever, that's not silver. Those are shares or units in a trust. Same thing with the gold price. If you look at the price of gold, they call it spot price. It's not, man. Gold, GLD, that's a trust. Silver, SLV, that's a trust. And there's shares in the trust. It's not actually, either way, man. That they did that on purpose, and they're able to control the paper price of gold and silver and other precious metals through, the physical price the physical price of precious metals, gold and silver and whatnot, is being controlled by the paper price of certain particular shares of trusts in gold and silver. You don't believe what I'm saying? Look it up. Go look it up. Do your research, man. Just do your research. I'm saying, like, please don't believe what I'm saying. Go check it out. Because if you go check it out, you're going to be good. You will see it. But that stuff is, they're raising the prices and stuff. They're locking it down. You can't, y'all figured out gold was important and silver is important. All right, well, we're just going to raise the prices then. Holler at that. We know what it is. They know what it is. I'm telling you, they know what it is. And not on some old be spooky, but on some real, they know what it is. This stuff has been figured out. And I'm going to explain that through this show. I'm going to explain how it's been figured out. I'm going to explain how it's been laid out. I'm going to explain how we slaves, straight up, in the best way for the masters, quote, the master. And we're talking economics, okay? Economics, which is one of the main subjects that we are ignorant in. Let's be honest, is economics. We are mainly ignorant when it comes to economics and finance because it's not taught in public school. And they teach school. They put us through school in a certain way that when we're done with mandatory school, we're done learning, pretty much. We're turned off from learning, at least in that style, in that way. We hear the word learning, we're like, I already did that. I'm good. I did that my whole life. So we're gonna go through that, but let me back up a little bit. So they locked it down May 13th. You can no longer use an EIN to obtain an EIN on the IRS website. You now have to use a Social Security number or an individual taxpayer identification number. And those are issued to individuals who are not eligible to receive the Social Security number. I'm not giving you legal advice. I'm not a lawyer. It's educational and informational purposes only. I expect you to go research what I'm saying. I expect you to go look it up. I expect you to be, your own instructor. I'm saying, like, why not? Yeah. So they locked that down. You can't do that anymore. I told y'all what was happening. I feel like half of the people who heard what I was saying didn't understand what I was saying, which is my fault. And I apologize for that. And people were like, you can't get, man, you can still, okay. Oh, number two, up and down the board, had an influx of trustees, because we no longer accept trustees on the foundation. Man, Yusuf got me bugged out about that, though. But yeah, so influx, and then, we got trustees trying to get their EINs. We got other trustees who are looking to, obtain an EIN obtain an EIN from the most private position as possible. And, obtain these foreign EINs for the trust. And the situation with obtaining these EINs by calling the Philadelphia campus and obtaining these EINs, these 9A numbers or whatever, they're locking that down too. And my man was telling me today, and I was having problems with my connection or something. One of the trustees was telling me today that they have security questions now. They're asking specific questions that they weren't asking before. They're locking down. They know what's going on. I apologize because I've been stepping on toes for years, pancaking toes, really, and I've been doing it on purpose. I've been stepping on toes for years, especially when it comes to, the public recognizing the private and how to make certain moves and do your dance. I've really been stepping on toes. And I feel like, part of it has to do with me too. And, how the foundation puts out information and pancakes toes. I think maybe I feel like I'm responsible for an influx of people, doing certain stuff and maybe not knowing exactly what they're doing or trying to do it a certain way and not totally understanding. And, you know, that stuff messes it up for everybody. It really does. And, you know, if I am a part of that, I'll take my medicine. Let's just be honest. I'm going to be honest. I take my medicine with regards to that. But it is what it is, and this is what we're dealing with right now. So this is what I'm saying. They're locking it down. They're locking the public down in a lot of ways when it comes to banking, when it comes to how about this? When it comes to who can deposit money into your account. Hey, if you're go put some money in my account. They're going to call you, tell you they can't. I'm talking about you need to be there and stuff like that. I'm serious. A lot of different stuff is going on. What's going on? Bottom line is we got the economy is on its last legs. People say it's going to be the end of the world. I say it's going to be the end of the world as we know it. There will be a different way of life and whatnot that we're going to have to get accustomed to. Is it going to be all bad? I don't know. I do know this. The de-evolution of the population is real. Every time I step outside my home or my office and I have to drive in traffic or be in public, you know, a cooperative purchasing food or whatnot, man, I deal with these people in the public, and these people are animals, man. They're animals that are inconsiderate. They're yelling at each other. They're angry. Like, man, I'm at the department store, man. You know, grabbing some Macy's, man. Like, come on, man. It's supposed to be, you know, I mean, it's not Nordstrom or nothing, but it's Macy's. You know, I'm buying some school clothes, you know, for the little ones, right? Man, these people are sad. They're sloppy. And it's, you know, people, look, it's really, you know, who knows, man? Who knows? But, you know, every day, and I know you probably feel it. Matter of fact, I know you feel it. Every day you feel like you're more and more alone. Like there's less and less people like us. You know what I mean? Like I have to say certain things. One of the coldest things I ever read was the 48 Laws of Power, where it says one of the laws is think how you think, but speak like everybody else. And on this level, y'all know, man. Go ahead, run out there. I'm sure you've learned. Run out there, get to talking about what you know and what you learn and stuff. See how people look at you. You see it. I know you see it. So you think how you think, but you got to speak like everybody else. And even you be in traffic, you be cutting people off, you be giving people a finger and stuff. Like, come on, man. Let's just be honest. Even some of us are animals. Even at times, I'm an animal. And I feel shame when I calm down and get my emotions under control. But as this thing locks down, as the economy breaks down, as this stuff goes, it's going to get deeper and deeper. And they want to be able to control you. They want to, establish these minimum contacts. They're looking to do this cashless society. They need you dependent on the system. They're trying to ensure that everyone that they can get their hands on, figuratively, is as dependent on the system as possible. Because those who slip out are going to, if they can get it on their own and, make some communities or, don't do whatever, they're not going to be dependent on the system, and they're going to, amass large amounts of wealth and stuff like that. And who knows? But that's the reason behind it. But it's been happening for a long time, and it's basically socialism. It's the idea that someone else works, and then there's people who don't work, but they still get the benefits of those who do work. I don't know how you feel about that, but basically, from what I understand, that's the concept of socialism. And this has been put into play for a long time. So let's start from the beginning, if you don't mind. Obviously, I'm sure a lot of you heard of Rothschilds. Sir Amschel Rothschild was the father, the patriarch. He had 4 or 5 sons. I can't remember at the time. He sent each one of his sons to different countries for each one of them to start banks and start lending money, fractional reserve banking. And, through a few generations, this specific family took over banking and finance, or so is taught. There are other families that took over other things. J.P. Morgan took over certain things. Rockefeller is another family that created specific sectors. Sectors we'll just call sectors of industry, production, construction, mining, but let's just talk steel and oil. Created steel and oil industry. Not only did they create the product, but they created demand and showed that the product was, necessary for production of large skyscrapers. Now we can build skyscrapers with this new product. So it's a benefit, obviously, but it's a sector of what is now known as, or we understand as an economy, the steel industry, right? The oil industry, right? The banking industry, right? The insurance industry. If you look back far enough, there are families, ultimately, that run all of the different industries and sectors of the economies all over the world. Do your research. Do your research. Do your research. Socialism works in a bubble, and that bubble is called the slaves. That's the only place it works. These elite families are not playing on the same game, field, level, plane as we are. Let's just be honest. So with the creation of these industries, of course, these are large industries. You're talking about international bankers and financiers and entrepreneurs and industry heads, so on and so forth, right? So your family can only do so much, and I'm only going to work my family so hard. Matter of fact, after a while, my family's not working. Someone else's family's working. So if I want something, I just need to find someone who will work for what I want. We want to be wealthy. We want to be industrious. We want to control these industries and these sectors of the economy. How do we do this? In creating these industries, we created positions to be filled by workers. Follow what I'm saying? Workers. Human resources. Straight up. Just how cows and mules are used to till the field. You need workers and individuals to work in these sectors of the economy, in these industries, for the benefit of this private families and their estates, for that specific benefit. And in order for all the workers to be on a uniform level, they got together and they figured out that they're going to create a uniform system of education throughout the entire world, but specifically let's focus on the United States first. And Rockefeller, they created industries. This family, this name, it has a lot of money. Rockefeller is credited with giving out over 70% of his wealth to charities, man. And they were charities that he set up and he created. Rockefeller, heavily endowed Spelman Seminary College, and helped them through endowments, through money, through grants, to preserve the college's single-sex status. Look it up. And the college later renamed the college Spelman No, it was like the Atlanta Seminary College or something. They renamed the college Spelman College in honor of the Rockefellers because Spelman was Rockefeller's wife's maiden name. His wife's family name was Spelman. Look it up. This is a historically so-called black college. Look it up. Same thing with the other main historically black college. That was his wife. That was his pastor, business partner, and good friend's last name, Morehouse Rockefeller. That was his homie. That was his homie's last name. Hey, man, I really like you, man. You've been down for me for a long time. We do business. You know what? I'm going to name a school after you, after your last name. That's how, that's how they're doing it on that type of level, yo. And through the General Education Board, which later became the Board of Education, Rockefeller heavily endowed the public educational system. So we got to understand, like, even from day one, since we started going to school, this educational system was built by wealthy families, man, for one purpose: to fund their industries that their family owns with human resources or human capital. Man, look, shout out to, the brother, who sent me the email, because, man, you was right. And it's not that I don't know this. I'm just trying to be, realistic for the people right now. I'm going to respond to your email. And if you want, you can come on the show, come on the foundation. Let's chop it up, because you're right. The most valuable resource on this planet is humans. But that's for now. This automation, this artificial intelligence stuff, man, this stuff is coming real quick. And the only thing that's constant is change. So that may be true now, but, how long is that going to stay relevant? But for now, these industries and these sectors are heavily dependent on human labor. And that's what these educational systems, the school, from kindergarten, preschool, all the way to college, unless you hit some elite level, you know what I'm saying, valedictorian, you start popping off and doing some real elite stuff, and then you get an offer. And even still, you're a slave. You get a public designation. I'm a professor. I'm a doctor. I have my MBA, my blah, 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 all these designations that can be taken away. And through that designation, you act in a public capacity, which you don't really understand. And in that public capacity, you grant jurisdiction to the public. And they're taxing the mess out of you. Talked to a client today. They said, I get money. When I get a check, because, I don't work. I'm entrepreneur. When I get this paper, I'll be doing my houses or whatever. I get a check. I'm about to get like 10 G's, next week or something. I'm like, that's what's up. Yeah. So I'm going to take 3 G's, put it to the side for taxes. I'm going to take 3 G's, put it in my savings. And I'm going to have 4 G's to work with. Like, dang. The 3 G's in savings, I like that. And 3 G's for taxes? What the flying what? Because we don't know. We just don't know. We weren't educated. You remember finance class in high school? Remember that? Remember finance class? Remember that when they was teaching us how to write out, do the check register, and they taught us what interest rate is? And yeah, right, because I didn't go either. There wasn't one. That's not the point. If you sit back and look at the educational system, that's not the point. It's not the point. You sit here and complain, oh, we're not learning, blah, blah, blah. Can you go get a job and do the job? You follow directions? Congratulations. You can say thank you to your public school system. Or how about the Progressive Education Association, which was heavily endowed by Rockefeller, whose main contributor, John Dewey, I think he was a professor at like Chicago, really prestigious college in Chicago. He may have been a professor at Columbia Teachers College. I'm not sure. Can't remember exactly. Look him up, John Dewey. And I ain't talking Dewey Decimal System. He was a part of the PEA, who made it publicly known that they felt and had done research and had determined that the bulk of the population was biologically childlike and required lifelong care. I say this and people laugh, like it's funny. It's not a joke, man. Like people really look at you and think you're genetically inferior to them and you're biologically childlike. That's why they didn't teach you finance, family. They didn't teach you the difference between appreciating assets and depreciating assets. That dude Robert Kiyosaki made millions off a book that was really, honestly, it could have been written better. But the principles that he taught between a depreciating and an appreciating asset, and then a couple other principles, blew people's minds and was the #1 bestseller. Like, come on, man. He didn't teach you really how to do anything. He just taught you the difference between things, for real. Helped you think differently. People are like, they want to say, oh, the public educational system. Shake my fist at the public educational system. Like, you got to understand, what is the overall function of the public educational system? It's to create so-called educated individuals that can then go out and apply for jobs within certain sectors and industries to convert their energy, their life force that they'll never get back, in return for pieces of paper, intangible pieces of paper with no intrinsic value. You see, gold is the currency of kings and queens. Gold is the currency of queens and kings. Silver is the currency of ladies and gentlemen. Barter is the currency of the free or the people. And debt is the currency of the slaves. But we don't even know we slaves. We swear we free. We swear we can do whatever we want, but we can't. We just don't want to see that we can't. I'm going to say it again. Gold is the currency of queens and kings. Silver is the currency of the nobles. Let's just be honest, the nobles. Barter is the currency of the free people. Debt is the currency of the slaves. Look at a dollar bill, $100 bill, I don't care what it says. Doesn't it say this note, legal tender? So now you know they're talking legalese. Look up the definition of a note in a law dictionary. And what is a note? It's a promise to pay. What is a promise? A promise is a debt. If I promise you something, I owe you. Owing is debt. Right? Think about it. Specific industry sectors, human resources. You go on to human resources. Oh, you make a human. I got to go talk to human resources. You never sat there and thought about the two words together, put together, human resources? They have a specific entire, depending on your company, they have an entire division devoted to human resources. We don't think about this. It's right in front of our face. We don't think about it. I don't think it. Okay, so let's get into the slavery. Slave owners, according to what we are told, what we are taught with regards to slavery contemporarily within this this paradigm known as Western civilization we were taught that slave owners owned their slaves outright, owned them. They were property. Property. You got to take care of your property. So they had to provide the slave quarters. The slave owners did. The slave owners had to provide the clothes or at least the fabric for the clothes for the slaves, and then the tools for other slaves to create the clothes for the other slaves. At best, worst case scenario, they making the slaves go into town and buy clothes for the other slaves. Okay, so you're providing the food. You got to feed the slaves. Be the rooter from the rooter to the tutor. Pig feet, chitterlings. You know what I'm saying? Intestines, pig snout, all the parts of the animals the slave owners didn't want was thrown to the slaves. You still got to feed them, though. If they get hurt, you got to pay for the doctor to come through because it's a human resource. This slave represents money to you. You're a business owner. Don't worry about them calling you a slave master and they're over there yelling over. Don't worry about them. They don't understand you. You're a business owner. You're a slave master. You have all these costs that you incur. With regards to the maintenance of your human resources, your property, shelter, clothing, food, all this stuff, right? Look at it now. Isn't it great for slave owners now? What do we pay for now? The slaves pay for their own education through student loans. Slave master ain't got to do it no more. Slave master ain't got to teach. Slave master now hires other slaves to teach the slaves. But the slaves who teach the slaves are on a higher rung of the slave ladder. Because we threw some letters behind you, some alphabets behind your name, gave you some prestige. We can take them away, but we threw some alphabets behind your name. And not to be dismissive, you learn some stuff. You know some things that these other slaves don't know. So you can teach the slaves, but you can only teach them what we taught you. So slaves go to school, take out student loans and whatnot, and pay back those loans for over half their life most of the time. It's on the slave now. Slave pays for it. Slave pays for any type of travel. Here's the thing I want to touch on this. When you get up and you get dressed, right, and you take a shower, and you wash your face, you know what I'm saying, get out, you brush your teeth, and you put on the lotion, the cocoa butter, whatever you put on, you know what I'm saying. Go on, little dapper, perfume, or whatever you do. You jump in your whip to drive to work. Why aren't you paid for the time once you leave your house? Because it's not economical for the slave owner to pay you. They can tell you, hey, you only get paid when you punch in. What about all the time that I spent outside of my house on my way here? Nah. Nope. It takes my life. It takes time for me to get here before I punch in. Are you saying that my life isn't valuable while I'm on my way here, and you were not going to compensate? I always wondered about that. It always bothered me if I ever was working. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, so travel, all that travel time, that's on you. Your food, that's on you. And the thing of it is, slave owner, we're going to issue you some debt notes, and the slave owner, our company, we get write-offs for the slave notes. We get tax benefits. So that portion of the notes that we issue to the slaves, we're not responsible to pay any taxes on any of the slave wages. The slaves pay the taxes on their wages. And after they pay the taxes, they got to pay for their education. They got to pay for their travel. They got to pay for their own food. We no longer buy their food. clothes, we no longer buy their clothes. They have to pay for their own clothes. If they're smart, they may try to buy their clothes in a jurisdiction with no tax on clothes, but it doesn't matter because we taxed their wages before they got it. So they're not, whatever, any other tax is extra. So they got to buy their own clothes now. We're not buying their clothes. Health care. They got to pay for their own health care. But, Obamacare makes a lot of them feel like they don't have to pay for their own health care. But it's just the higher earning slaves. It's not the rich. The rich know how to do their taxes, so they're not paying taxes. It's the high earning slaves who think they're rich or may appear to be rich to the other slaves who are poverty stricken, who are actually paying for their health care. And eventually they're going to be bankrupt. We can't do it anymore, so let's pass it on to them. Healthcare, they're paying for their own healthcare. Biggest thing, they're paying for their own living. They don't have to live on our property anymore. They can go live where they want, as long as however far they live from their job is on them. We don't pay for the travel time, but they pay their own rent. They pay their own mortgage. We don't pay for that. They're not staying on we don't have to look at them anymore. They're not on our property. They pay for their own entertainment, of course. Even Rome, they had the Colosseum, but Rome and the Colosseum, you can get in for free. They let you walk in. Here, they make you pay for the stuff. You got to pay to get in and watch the game. The corporations used to pay for people's retirements. Like, okay, you work for this company your whole life. The company will take care of you in your old age. Not no more. They put that responsibility on the slaves now. And say, we're going to give you this 401k. It's going to be diversified in multiple mutual funds and stock options and so on and so in the stock market, basically. So your retirement is predicated upon how well the stock market does, not about our company. Our company could do great. Don't look at us. Don't look at the company. Look at the stock market. Look at the economy. Look at the trade wars. Don't look at the man behind the curtain. It's the stocks we lost money to. Oh my God, we're all the same. Ouch. I can see it. Can you see it? Can you see what I'm saying? You got to apply for a passport if you want to leave the country. We want to know everywhere you go. We're going to let you. Your passport's going to be stamped. We're cracking down on cash and stuff like that. We want to know where your money is, where you got it from, who gave it to you, what you're doing with it. Wasn't gold outlawed? Then they outlawed gold. They told you can't even have gold. Then they said you could. Now you can't. But we might take it. We're being cool right now. We might take it. And people turned around and went and brought the gold to their government. Like, for real, people did that. For real, I can't believe it. I'm flabbergasted. I mean, there's hella people who probably straight up didn't go along with it. But they don't, the history books don't really talk about those people. And if they do, they vilify them. But ultimately, they want to talk about all the slaves who willingly turned in their money, man, their money. And when they wanted to manipulate the currency, they started introducing notes that looked just like silver certificates and gold certificates, but they were Federal Reserve notes. They were promises. They put the promises out there with the real notes, the real certificates, my bad. If you ask me, maybe even the certificates gave them an idea. That's what happened. Definitely gave them an idea. And they kept the gold, man. They kept the gold. and they kept the silver, and they put out paper, man, and they introduced this debt system, and we fell for it, yo. Straight up fell for it. And, I'm not saying this, to make anyone feel a certain way. I'm not saying this to make it seem like I'm on a different level. We all in the same boat, man. We're all in the same boat. But if we can recognize it, if we can see it, then it's cool. Biggest thing I want to say is, y'all know I wax poetic about trust, man. It's because a trust is a legal person. And a trust properly executed is a contract, man. And if you do it right, it doesn't have any minimum contacts with the state, with the government, none of that. It's an actual foreign entity, non-resident alien. Let's just be honest. Y'all looking for the non-resident alien? It's a contract trust, man. And then step into the fiduciary capacity of trustee under contract. You're contractually bound to be a trustee. And you're executing a contract, which is a trust. And no state can pass any law impairing the obligation of contract. That's like the biggest jewel that I freely say, and I feel like it goes over so many people's heads because so many want to be sovereign and so many want to be I'm a Moor, and all this stuff, and you don't understand what it means, and you're not properly executing, you're not properly noticing people and agencies and all this other stuff, and you're wasting your time because you're a slave. That's why you're a tenant on your deed. Look at your deed. Warranty deed, deed of trust, don't matter. Look at it. It says you're a tenant. If you and your wife or you and your husband on it, says tenants in common. Look at what a tenant is in a legal dictionary. But you don't understand, but that's the public. All they can give is public titles. And a public title is, you can only be a tenant in the public because you're a slave in the public, and slaves can't own anything. So on the deed, if you're a tenant. But out of all the slaves, you have a deed. So we don't recognize that we're all slaves. I am just a higher ranking slave than you. Therefore, my slavery is non-existent. I just see yours. Which is ego. We're all wrapped up in ego. I am too. I fight my ego every single day. But I know I'm a slave. I know they got me wrapped up. They don't got the trust wrapped up, though. I know that, and that's the thing. Bang, bang. When you're dealing with the legal department of establishments in the financial world, and they're telling you that they've never seen such a sophisticated structure in their time since they worked there, and they pop the button on you, and you doing your dance, then you understand what I'm talking about. Yeah, I put them on notice. I got stuff filed, so on and so forth. But check this out. They have my feet prints since I was a little boy. The soles of my feet, and people wonder, why they take the footprint? Because you as a living soul, you touched their jurisdiction, the fake paper jurisdiction, before you touch the real, the earth, the ground, the dirt. So that's how they establish some sort of claim at birth. Why? Because your feet touched the instrument before it touched the earth. Why? Because you're a slave. You know how, when you was in school and you had a teacher that would lick their fingers and then grab the paper and then give it to you? That's how I feel about what I just said. Like, it's repulsive. Like, you just going to lick your fingers and put it on a paper and then hand it to me? We don't know, though. I have a higher status as a slave than you, so I'm content with my chains because my chains are gold and yours are iron. I knew that shit. Excuse my language. Man, they put a contract in front of me over $4 million, man. $4 million, 5 years of your life, 2 years option. A fancy cage with the ability to really not even own it, but possess whatever I want in the moment while being a highly paid slave who entertains slaves. And I'm supposed to be content because my chains are gold and your chains are iron. And you look just like me, and I'm supposed to be cool with you having to serve me. And just because I'm sitting at the table that you have to serve, this dude over here feels like he can talk to me about you in a negative, under a negative connotation. And you look just like me. But because my chains are gold and yours are iron, I'm supposed to be cool with that. I ain't no house nigga. I ain't no field nigga either, though. I'd rather be uncomfortable. I'd rather have no shirt, no shoes, no socks in the rain than have to deal with that stuff, literally been in that situation. Like, man, I'm cool. Nah, not me. No. You ever met me, you stand next to me, you can feel it in my energy. I do not play that. All you got to do is tell me I can't. Watch me. All you got to do is really say I won't. Oops, you shouldn't have said that. I have a problem with authority. So, like, they tell you can't, sir, you can't do that. Well, you're a slave talking to me. Peasant? Then I got chill, ego, chill, ego, chill. Because you're my brother, you're my sister, but you're in that capacity of a slave, of a peasant. It's hard to deal with you. It's hard to give you love. It's hard to show you what's up, man. Because you coming at me like a peasant, man. "30 seconds left in the broadcast. If you're online, 424-222-5250. I will go over a little bit, but man, I feel like I'm ranting right now. But I'm dead serious. The public is locking down. And without understanding the economics of slavery, we're all blind to our current condition, which is, oops, that's what we're currently in. Oops. That's your condition. You don't even know it. You don't even know it. But, see, we're in a certain paradigm, and that dude Ray Dalio, he did this thing on paradigm shifts. Y'all should look it up. Ray Dalio, paradigm shifts. Ray Dalio, paradigm shifts. You'll find it. I think he put it on LinkedIn or something. You'll find it. Read that thing and then read it again. Because, everything's all good until it's not. We as human nature, we expect everything to be the way it was. And when it's not the way it was, we panic, we get anxious, people start tripping, start having contempt throwing people under the bus, murdering, raping, stealing. It's crazy. Ultimately, most people are animals. Let a nigga go 3 days without eating and have his daughter crying because she ain't eating and see how he's going to behave. Understand that we live around all these cats. You might be one of them. And when this stuff pop off, and how bad is it going to be, I don't know. But it's going to be crazy, yo. I'm telling you right now that this whole system is going to flip and people are going to be lost in the shuffle. And I got, I have mixed feelings with, this trustee training and closing the doors. Yusuf told me that I need to keep doing it, and I'm really struggling with this right now. I ain't going to sit here and talk to y'all about discharge and talk to y'all about shit that don't matter, in my opinion. If you can't feed yourself, if you can't protect and maintain and hold on to possession-wise of what you just discharged because it's popping off right now, then it don't matter. You wasted your time. You should have been doing something else. I work hard. Today's my new year, and I'm still working. I ain't playing that, I'm going to go and take some time for me. Look, man. This stuff is changing. Every time I pop off some current events, look, man, and I don't cherry pick this stuff. This stuff be on the front page these days, man. The stuff they saying, like I see what they saying. My guy was like, yo, ever since you really started studying this stuff like 4 or 5 years ago, everything you say comes true. With the geopolitics, when you say that gold's finna go up or silver's finna go up or something's finna happen or something, it happens. Like, how do you know? Like, I can see it now. I don't know how to tell you. And then someone asked me, if I was to start with trust and, I'm a beginner, where would I start? Man, I'm at the point where I don't even remember where I started, man. I started in the south of France talking to some Jewish dude telling me that I need to look in trust. Telling me my people Europeans create businesses around what we create and make money off it, and his people own the rights to what we create. That's what he told me. That's where I started with trust. Go to the south of France and holler at that dude. That thing blew my mind. I have a problem with authority. Ain't nobody finna be owning what I create, and ain't nobody else finna be creating a business around what I create and getting money off of what I create. And none of these fools help me get this bread. So why am I have to break any of these fools off? They wouldn't even sit at the table with me. I woke up, snapped out of it. It was crazy. Paradigm shift, if you want to call it. And then moved into some, all right, man, what's really popping? What's really going on? It's trust in banking, hands down. Everybody misses it. Everybody wants to talk about free money and discharge and 1099 OIDs and all this other stuff. Everybody misses it. Nobody wants to talk about the generational wealth. Nobody wants to talk about how are these rich families perpetuating their wealth through generations. How do they do it, so? And how can I do it? I've only heard that like 2 or 3 times. The other people got into trustee training, made their donation, and felt like they had to say some sort of secret password code for me to start teaching them discharge. You know how annoying that is? Like, fam. Is this some sort of freaking movie, man? You think this is the nigga Lord of the Trust or some shit? I get emails, people trying to sound smart. I accept the responsibility of the fiduciary. Man, shut up, man. Ego everywhere. Ego everywhere. You're a slave. You have no business flaunting that ego in public, in front of other people who are slaves. Because some of us know exactly what we are, and we look at you for exactly what you are, and you look stupid. And I'm not going to argue with you. I'm not going to tell you because you're stupid. You look stupid. I'm not going to argue with someone stupid and be walking around who looks at us arguing. They're going to tell who's stupid and who's not. I ain't got time for that. I got other things to do. I have a family to raise, a last name to impose, and rip my name through the strands of your life. What you going to do? Nothing. Can't do nothing about it. Rip it. Y'all over here playing games and stuff, memorizing stats to some dude over here. Generations. Watch. I'm supposed to respect everybody. We all equal, right? No, we're not. We do different things. We say different things. We accept different things. Yeah, I'm a slave. I'm a slave just like you. Just like you. But I recognize it. I know it. I know how we got here. I understand who Edward Bernays was. What is he? The nephew of Sigmund Freud. That psychology dude. They studied human psychology, human physiology, human biology. They have us down to a science. This dude, Edward Bernays, went to all of the major corporations. Look him up. Edward Bernays. I think it's Burnays. And he showed all the corporations how to tap in to the human psyche to sell products. The godfather of consumerism was a nephew of one of the most prominent European psychologists known to Western European history. Wonder why you ain't no money? Living check to check, can barely pay our bills on time consistently. You think that's by accident? Or is that how the system is set up? You ain't supposed to have no extra money, fam. You a slave. When we complaining, oh, we ain't got no money, blah, 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 you think they hear us and they're being empathetic and compassionate? You're a fool. They're over there grinning and dapping each other up because, hey, it's working. They're not supposed to have any extra money. We're doing a good job. It's a game. It's a game. It's a game that's played on you. It's a game that's played on the public. The wealthy put their money into financial endowments. An endowment with the hospital or university pays forever. It will pay your family trust forever. You die, still getting paid. Financial endowment. Next generation, still getting paid. Financial endowment. Next generation, still getting paid. Financial endowment. It is income to the estate, fam. I have an estate. The estate makes money. You ain't even got to do nothing. You ain't got to do nothing. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to do anything. The estate makes money. It's set up like that. Why? Because Grandpa Sot ripped his name through the strands of our lives. We can't get away from him. And people in the public, too, know who he is. There's a picture of him over here. He looks kind of like me. Mama said I kind of look like Grandpa Sot. Yeah, man. Holler at that. What y'all hollering at? Chanel bags and weird fanny packs. People say, oh, sometimes you seem like you look down upon people. I don't want to be that type of person. I do look down on people as far as what they do. Let me rephrase that. I look down on what people do if it's below my standards. What's wrong with that? It's discernment. I am with that or I am not with that. You can say it's arrogant. You can say, I feel you think you're better. I don't care. All that stuff makes you feel better, in my opinion, because you doing that lame dance and you don't want anyone to make you feel bad about doing your lame dance. You want to protect your little ego feelings. You're a slave. I'm a slave. My dance is colder than yours, though. What? Well, you shouldn't say that. That's mean. Everybody tried. Like, I'm not with that. That's that new age stuff. I'm not down with doing that dance. The public is locking down. It's not a game. I ain't finna give y'all what y'all want. I'm gonna give y'all what y'all feel like y'all need, because this ain't a business to me. This is a charity. And y'all need to hear that y'all slaves, man. You slaves, man. You slaves, man. And you don't want to learn. Your teachability number is on 0 because you feel like you've grown and you learned everything. And now that you're grown, you're expected to know everything. So you can't make no mistakes. So you got mad excuses for your mistakes. And you don't want no one can tell you no critiques, no nothing. You get violent, start getting loud, yelling at people and stuff. Look, man, look at yourself in the mirror. It's rough. It's rough. It's rough, but it is what it is. And what are you going to do about it? You can create an entity that can live forever, that is a legal person, that is not governed by legislation or statutes, does not owe its existence to legislation or statutes, that will never be a slave as long as it's properly taken care of and administered, and set your family up for generations. It's called trust. But you want to discharge your credit cards. Wonder why I got a certain tone of my voice when you're talking to me about how you want to discharge your credit cards. There's no honor in that. I don't see no honor in that. You may think that's honorable and you're being noble and you're cool and everything's good and whatever, but your standards are not mine. We're all slaves out here. What are you doing about it? I know what I'm doing about it. What are you doing about it? I'm going to go to the phone lines, man. I don't know about you, but every time I come around my new year, I really take stock of the previous year and I really look at the next year. I can do better. I'm going to do better. I will do better. What you going to do? You want to get down? I got your back. Still your brother, man. I still love y'all. I still love you. Sometimes love got to be tough, though, right? Because, some of us don't listen to our family when we out of pocket. There's really no one else that can tell me about me besides those closest to me. Because otherwise, I'm not going to listen. I don't want to hear it. Who are you? The kid rocks. But, my brother, my sister, I listen to my brother, listen to my sister. Maybe not right away. But I definitely listen to my brother, listen to my sister. But it's time to wake up, man. It's really time to wake up. It's really time to wake up. It's really time to wake up. And I don't mean just wake up and be like, oh, I know. I'm woke. I'm conscious. Do something. Do something. Show me. How can I tell? Real stuff. Real stuff ain't got to be spoken on and be told, man. We already know, man. There's so many things I don't walk around saying because I don't have to. I'm woke. I'm this, I'm that, man. Moonwalk out of my face, man. Don't say that to, them fools over there. We all over there and be cool with each other being lames. Making y'all pat each other lame back. Listen to each other run their lame mouth. With your lame excuses about why you're lame and whose fault it is that you didn't achieve anything or do anything or, you know what I'm saying? Like, man, I ain't got time for that. I ain't got time for that. So many grown adults, man. Straight lame-os. Lame-os. Tell them you're a lame-o. Man, you don't talk to me like that. You disrespect me. Like, man, you little child, man. Children. Because we're slaves. Like, we don't recognize our own behavior. Do we behave like nobles, sovereigns, or whatever, Or we behaving like children, minors? How are you behaving? You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna go to the phone lines, man. Wow. I just ran my mouth. But wow, man, look at the switchboard. Look at y'all. Y'all like it when I run my mouth? Oh man, look at y'all, man. I love y'all. I really do, man. If I can meet all y'all and we can chop it up, man, and kick it, and you know what I'm saying, just crack jokes on, somebody, man. Like look at this fool over here walking with and we just sitting over there just dying. Even if it's at someone else's expense, man, I would love to do that with all y'all, man. Oh man, I love y'all, especially my regulars, man. Y'all my famarammers. You know what I'm saying? Let me go to these phone lines, man. I want to holler at y'all. Like, Yusuf told me I need to keep doing trustee training, man. Like, I'm really struggling with that, man. Mostly because I'm a man of my word and it's already over. So, I mean, I'm like, I have to renege on my word. But, man, Yusuf is, like, if anybody, look, man, I'm struggling, man. I'm done. Phone lines, man. Holler at me, man. I love y'all, man. How y'all doing, man? Let's do this one first. Let's do 708-4791. Peace. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Peace. So I'm kind of intimidated to speak, after after the things that you just said. I don't know if it's because I'm convicted or what.
I was just playing, sister.
No, you wasn't, but that's okay. First, I appreciate everything you're doing. And I did send you an email about trustee training. I need to go back and review it. I figured as long as I got in, I was safe. So we're going to get that wrapped up soon. At any rate, I have two questions for you, just based on some things that you said. Can you please elaborate a little bit more on how to set up the endowment? That's my first thing. And then my second thing is, how do you settle things on your own account?
On your own account? What do you mean?
Meaning, like, I guess on your own account rather than other people's account, or for yourself rather than for someone you're working for or working with to control the whole transaction. Is that like a advanced trustee?
Kind of. Let me address your first question, though. Endowments. I would definitely recommend doing research on an endowment. First and foremost, though, these types of financial products are only available to public charities, private charities, or trusts. So you got to have a proper structure. But I'm going to tell y'all this. Y'all think I'm playing? Here, look. I'm going to tell y'all this. Call up the nearest hospital or university in your area. Texas A&M, I don't care what it is. Call them up and tell them you'd like to speak to the donor department. All right? And then you won't get a hold of somebody. They might have to call you back and say, this is such from the donor department. How may I help you? And you say, my name is, tell them your name. I'm the trustee of a trust, and we're looking for information regarding your endowments that you offer. And they will spill the beans and tell you all about endowments and how they work and what the percentages is and what they offer and all that stuff. But ultimately, an endowment is, hospitals and universities, they have access to these certain types of accounts that do higher rates of return, like 25, 30, 35, sometimes 40% returns on deposits in these accounts.
On the what of these accounts?
These financial, checking accounts, deposit accounts. It says because of the institution, hospitals, universities, these are the only types of institutions that are allowed these accounts because they're, hospitals, universities are charitable kind of, they're nonprofits, medical and whatnot. So what you do is an endowment is a contract that is negotiated between the trustees of an estate or trust and the donor department, whereas there's a certain amount of money that is deposited into this account, and the interest on that deposit is split between the hospital or university and the family estate or the family trust. Because you can negotiate the interest split because they have no vested interest in the money that's deposited because you gave it to them. So they just get interest off it. And you can even designate what they use that interest for, whether it's to fund a library or African American studies. You just can't go against public policy and discriminate against age, sex, race, creed, so on. So you can't have we want to do a scholarship that's only for African Americans. You can't do that because that goes against public policy. But this is how different curriculums are being taught in universities as well. It's through financial endowments. Deanships, professorships, and chairs are funded by financial endowments. It's just hospitals and universities have access to certain types of accounts that have certain rates of deposit, and they'll split the interest with your trust or your estate if you make the deposit, and that's called a financial endowment.
Okay, and you make it recurring every year, or do you just say for the next 5 years I'm going to do this?
It's perpetual. It's in perpetuity.
So what if they go out of business?
Usually their endowments and their stuff is going to be bought by another institution or another college or university. And that's why you typically go to, a state university. I'm not going to do National American University or whatever. I wouldn't do none of that. They went out of business. But, those institutions that have been around, education will be around forever. Insurance will be around forever. And banking, people always going to need to borrow money. That's going to be around forever. So, if you just got to do your due diligence and find the proper institution to set up these types of investments.
Very interesting. Okay.
Yeah, do your research. I got so much stuff I want to talk about. I just feel like I can't even go there because most people ain't even grasping the trust aspect. So I don't feel it's responsible. You said
something. You said something on one of your. I'm sorry for interrupting your thought, but I just want to let you know that people are listening to you. You said something in one of the last shows. I don't remember which ones because I usually catch everything in the archive. And you said a trust. I can say it simply. It's an executed contract.
Boom.
I thought that was profound. I was like, yeah, that's so simple and it's easy to grasp.
Yeah, pretty much. There's executed contracts and what is it? Executory contracts. I can't remember exactly how it's said. But one, everything is done, and the other one, things are left to be done. So, you just execute the contract. Yeah, to me, it's simple though. It's very simple to me. Especially like trust administration. And,
what's simple about that? Because that's confusing. Other people in the public are looking at you as an administrator. They're looking like they're the administrator.
Well, I mean, they're delegated administrative authority by legislative, act and decree, but they have no authority over, the private administration of any private entity. So that's fine. They can administrate. They're administering statutes and policy. Not the trust contract, and they can't because no state can pass any law impairing the obligation of contract. You understand, man? Once you get on the level of so the elite are here and they're making money and they're raping and robbing. Okay, so there must exist some sort of framework that I just don't understand or see that allows them to exist and be getting all this money. and that framework is contracts.
So it's nothing that they have to sign. It's all you.
Yeah, they're just not going to teach you. I ain't going to teach you. Look, if you work for me, right, let's say, what do we do? You sell the gold, but I make the gold necklaces and the chains and stuff. But you sell it. You stand out there, you sell it. I can't sell like you can, but you can't make like I can. Why the hell would I teach you how to make damn? That's ridiculous. You never smarten up a chump in business. So I'm never going to teach you what you don't know, because what you don't know keeps you dependent on me. And I can make money off you. And that's the name of the game right there. That's it. Boom.
Okay.
So, I mean,
okay.
It's
I'm going to have to go back and listen to this over and over again. I know that.
it's
or write it down.
And then do the research, like looking at Edward Bernays, looking at dude, what did he do? What do they call him? You know what I'm saying? Like, look at the PEA, the Progressive Education Association. Look at that. What were they doing? What were they talking about? Go deeper than just Wikipedia pages. Look at, the General Education Board, and then look at when it turned over to the Board of Education. There was a commission that Congress did on, private foundations, and they were saying that, not only are these men controlling the industries and their employees, but they're able to control the educational system and social services of the nation. And this is Congress back in the 1920s. Like, the stuff didn't happen overnight. We just didn't wake up in bondage. I mean, I guess we did, but this situation didn't transpire overnight. And it was, when you see it to me, it just lays out right in front of you, and it's plain as day. And I go outside in the public looking at people differently. I really do, because I know this information, and I don't play around, and I pay attention to, look, in my neighborhood, I'm on the buy the hood. I'm on that movement, buy up your own hood, because if you understand gentrification, the hoods eventually, within like a cycle of 20 years, they get gentrified, which means the property values get low enough to where developers and flippers have incentive and can make money off of going in there, developing and flipping these properties. And it gets gentrified, and the people who live in there can't afford it, and the rents go up, and boom, now the people got to, man, we buy the hood. If we bought a hood, we would be on the receiving end of that. Instead of moving around from neighborhood to neighborhood, we would, start capturing wealth. 70% of Americans' wealth are predicated upon home ownership, property ownership. And no one taught us, get a property class, how to buy a property. They taught us how to drive, though, so we can do deliveries and stuff. Like, if you look at it, it makes complete sense. You can see it. It's like, oh, they got me. Good job. And that's, I'm just trying to, pull the the curtains back a little bit. But yeah, I mean, check out the show, look at it. And then you said your other question was, what was your other question? You said you were like,
my other question was about settling things on your own account. I was looking at some information from, I guess, the Reserve, and looking at some of those forms that they have, and it was saying that you would have to settle things on your own account.
Yeah, and
I wasn't really clear what that means. I'm thinking, I think it means, okay.
The United States is a corporation, it's a service corporation. And that's the difference.
Right.
You got the United States Post Office, then you got the United States Postal Service. You know what I'm saying? There's a difference. It's a service corporation. Banks they offer banking services. So if you break that down, then they're offering services that they can make money off of as an intermediary between the people and the Treasury. So basically, we don't know how to interface with the Treasury. We need banks to interface with the Treasury on our behalf. And a lot of times we don't even interface with the Treasury because we circulate Federal Reserve notes, which is, commerce, which is Article 1, which is outside the purview of the Treasury. So in order to not use their reserve notes, we'd have to understand how to interface with the Treasury. And in order to interface with the Treasury properly during this current monetary system, we would have to understand how to negotiate instruments and create financial instruments and settle accounts. And that is a relationship directly with the Treasury. And that's a secured party process. You put a bond on file with the Treasury, and, you set off debts against the value of that bond. Once you run out of the value of the bond, you set off so many debts and the value of the bond is depleted, you lodge another bond with the Treasury and use that, and you set off, and you got to keep your own books. You got to keep track because there's penalties and fees for being out of whack. And if you don't know how to do that, then you got to holler at the CPAs and the banks. They'll take it for you. They'll handle it for you, but there's a fee for that. They charge service fees. Either goods or services. Commerce is goods or services. So, banking services. So, it's the lack of knowledge on how to interface with the Treasury. So, I will focus on ascertaining knowledge on how to interface with the Treasury as a private citizen. There's some code. Oh, man. What code was it, man? I found it, y'all. It was in the codes, man, and it was like, what did it say? It was like procedure on how to not be a citizen and how to be a national. Oh, man, what was the code? And they were not playing. I think it was like public law 94-241, section 302. Public Law 94-241, Section 302. Any person who becomes a citizen of the United States solely by virtue of the provisions in Section 301 may, within 6 months after the effective date of that section or within 6 months after reaching the age of 18 years, whichever date is later, become a national but not a citizen of the United States by making a declaration under oath before any court established by the Constitution or laws of the United States or any other court of record in the Commonwealth in the form as follows. I, blank, being duly sworn, hereby declare my intention to be a national but not a citizen of the United States, period. And that's why people do the private agreement. And the private agreement, the date is on their 18th birthday, and they declare that they're going to be a national. So as a national, only nationals can interface with the Treasury. People think I don't know about this shit. I do. I just don't talk about it. I think you used to talk about it enough, and I'm not interested in it. I'm not. I don't care. I'm not interested. I'm a creator. I'm a god. I create stuff. I'm over here worried about my creative processes and worried about, some debts. If I create enough abundance, the debts will be canceled out. You know what I'm saying? So I just think differently. But yeah, yep, there you go. I feel like I just broke it down.
You did, thank you.
But you got to keep your own books. And if the books get out of whack.
Well, if but the thing is, it's like when you first start this, you do maybe one, and maybe you do other ones also. So you got a lot of books built up.
I'm talking about with setting off debt drawing off of a bond that you lodge with the Treasury. So if you lodged a bond for $100 million, and then you set off $10 million, you set off $10 million, you set off $8 million, you set off, okay, how much you got left? And are you going to overdraft that bond? Because if you overdraft an account at the at the bank, there's an overdraft fee. Do you know what the Treasury does? And their enforcement is the Secret Service, which is federal. It's higher stakes, is what I'm saying. So you want to get to know what you're doing, but you got to keep track of the bonds that you register and the values of the bonds of your that you're offsetting against. If you got a $10 million bond, you shouldn't try to run $11 million off that same bond. The books got to be in order. You know what I'm saying? You got to have the correct books. You got to keep the correct books for the bonds that you for the business that you're doing with the Treasury. I just ain't doing it. I ain't doing it. Y'all can do it. I ain't doing it. It makes sense. To me, they can have all that.
So your thing is trust versus doing that. I would think that that's part of the trust. You're saying that it's not?
The United States is a trust, man. The Constitution is a trust. And what people don't understand is your trust, you know, if you handle trustee training, your trust is on par with the Constitution. Your trust is on par, equal to the United States. Boom.
I get that, but
so when you understand
that's what I'm saying.
It's on par. Why would you want to deal in a system unless you have direct benefit, unequivocally, for dealing with a system, and you do it in a certain manner? But if your trust can say what money is, then you can create your own instruments, right? And now you've got to negotiate with the public on whether or not they're going to acknowledge and settle these instruments. It's just foreign currency, right? If it's trust notes, but you got to understand banking. You got to understand trust before you understand banking, because trust is the foundation of banking. That's why, like, I don't know. I feel like there's two types of people: those who learn the system and run towards it, and those who learn the system and are adverse to it and be like, man, get out of here. I'm more of the people like, man, get out of here. Get this out of here. I don't want the notes. I don't want the Federal Reserve notes. We are concerned about what those can get, or what you can get with Federal Reserve notes and what you can get without Federal Reserve notes, which is the same things. You can get the same exact things without Federal Reserve notes that you get with Federal Reserve notes. You just got to be a little bit more, creative. I love being creative. So I'm down for that. Some people don't want to be creative. I'm just going to use the notes. Use the notes. But look, man, we get our hands on those notes, we convert those as quick as possible. As fast as possible. I don't like it. I don't like it. I mean, you can obviously tell, like, this whole system it's all bad as far as I'm concerned, because it's not ours. It's not us.
Okay. Well, I appreciate you giving me your time answering the questions. I'll let you get to your other callers you got. Since you had your board lit up. So. Thank you so much. And I'll be in contact, okay?
Okay, yeah, I look forward to it. Thank you very much. Peace. I'm over here ranting, y'all. I apologize for my Riznance. Rizzle. 385-2128. Peace. Which man, where you calling from?
Hey, peace, Sot. And peace to the Foundation family. I just wanted to say, man, I got into trustee training. It was the number one best decision that I've made in my entire life. Like, flat out. Because, like growing up in the hood, not having much, I always knew there had to be more to life than this. And, you know what I'm saying? I just knew, like, you know, if there was a way that I could take all the assets and the wealth that I built up and just put it into a container and pass it on, you know, without other people reaching in, I would do it in a heartbeat. And hell, lo and behold, man, all these years later, I find a foundation. Shoot, I'm ready to get started as a trustee. I mean, shit, I don't know what I mean. I don't think there's any more I can say about that. But in my last phone call with you, you know, in the private, you said one thing that resonated with me to the point where I was actually flabbergasted for a second, because like I was still trying to process it. Basically, you were telling me about how, you know, these trusts were private, and you were breaking down how, you know, how things work. And man, for a second, like, you know, I realized how much I didn't know just from that one thing, from that one statement. I realized how I thought I was ready, but I wasn't at the time. So it prompted me to do a little soul searching, get with the family, you know, include them. And, you know, because, you know, I'm thinking, oh, man, I can go at this, you know, go solo and basically set everything up and let them do the rest. But no, that's not how, not entirely. That's not how trust works. Because you have to trust. You have to have trust. So, see, I just wanted to say that much.
That's what's up, man. I mean, you know, I'm still tripping on you saying it was the best decision you made in your life. I think that's probably in line with what I would say as far as when I decided to fully immerse myself in not only law, because, you know, I had to learn law on a deeper level than I already knew in order to do what I'm doing, as well as teach what I'm teaching, but also history. You know, history and law are inextricably connected. And
absolutely.
When you get on that level, it is life changing. It definitely is. And you know, you do get to I've been to a point where, you know, I thought I knew something and realized I didn't know nothing. So I can definitely appreciate and respect the fact that you acknowledge that, you know, publicly. I think that, you know, that's a big thing. A lot of us don't want to acknowledge where we were wrong or where we fell short, and I think that's some sissy stuff. But, you know, I definitely honor and respect you with regards to that. And, you know, I mean, you ain't seen nothing yet, man. I'm telling you. I tell you, and, you know, you talk more in private, but there's so many things I don't say because most people aren't ready for what the thing, you know, all the stuff that I know.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, and for all those of you who happen to miss the deadline, man, all I can say, man, is, man, you missed out on a great thing. Now, I can't speak for Sot, but, like, you can try, but, hey, man, this is the private, so, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying. If you know what I'm saying, you know what I'm saying. It's the private, so, you know, shoot your shot. But, another thing, oh, yeah, man. See, man, I let fear paralyze me, too, man. I missed out on, you know, getting that EIN the easy way, and I don't know, man. Should I go see about a lawyer, or should I just put it on my name and just let the...
You can still get a foreign EIN. It's just harder, you know.
Yeah.
They're really testing you to make sure you know what you're talking about, and you know you're at least a partially studied trustee. That's what they're doing right now. But you can still get the 98 number. You can pay someone to be a nominee, and a lawyer firm can obtain the EIN on your behalf and stuff like that. I mean, there's other ways around it. It's just for those of us who maybe financially challenged, those are the doors that are closing. The simple money routes or the no money routes. Those are the doors that are closing. And you close the people are price sensitive. So you close those low price or no price doors, you're closing the doors on a lot of people.
That makes sense.
They're grabbing a hold of their slaves, man. They're tightening up the chains on their slaves. Is what they're doing.
Yep.
But you can still call and get a foreign EIN. I mean, trustees are still doing it. I was talking to a trustee today. Sometimes you just got to hang up on the fools and call back. But they punch in and do a job, man, and issue EINs. You know what I'm saying? So whatever.
Yeah, I
don't put too much stock into them fools, man. You know what I'm saying? They're slaves just like us.
Yep.
They just think they're better than us. You reading the script, issuing EINs. You punch out, go back to. They give you a check, take out your taxes. You punch out and go to your house where you got a mortgage. You paying taxes too, fool.
Yep.
We all need to recognize that we all slaves. Ain't none of us better than none of us, and then we can get on a level. You know what I'm saying?
And when I called in, though, like, they were insisting that I provide them with a TIN or SSN. And
I call them, man. You gotta be. I'm firm with them fools. I'm firm with them. Like, what? I'm firm with, but I know what I'm talking about. Like, I don't know. There's something to be said about confidence in the voice. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I was at like level 3, so I was not very confident. I was doubting myself, and that's probably they probably sensed it. They probably picked up on it.
Ask to speak to their supervisor. See what happens. See if they don't start.
Oh yeah. That's what I need to do.
Straight up,
but
I mean, people forget that these fools are working a job. Like, look, I need to speak to your supervisor. I don't really like the way you're talking to me. I'm trying to get an EIN, looking to do business in the United States. Look, facilitate commerce. I don't know. Maybe you need to be coached or something to train because you're being very hostile to me on the phone. All I'm trying to do is, conduct commerce in the United States of America, the home of the free, the land of the brave. Like, I'm gonna get brolic with these fools.
All right, yeah, I'm gonna take that to heart. Yeah,
straight up.
Yeah,
go.
I
Let me talk to your manager. Let me talk to your your call center manager.
I'm definitely gonna take that to heart. All right. So, I'm gonna give it another try, Hey, but damn, man, I mean, but it makes sense though. It makes sense what you.
They're just making sure. They're making sure that they're making sure that it is what you say it is, man. It's a foreign entity, but it's gonna be doing business in the United States, so your answer's got to reflect that.